How's the royal family? I pray that everyone is doing well. Well, my royal family, I'm just letting y'all know, gonna be one of them long, juicy ass videos. So, I'm committed, my royal family, to making sure I report the greatest details in the case of our royal son being slaughtered in the streets of America. I know many probably watched the memorial service of our King George Floyd. I watched that, but I have not at all lost sight of all the fuckery that's going down. Now let's keep in mind, my royal family, while these charade games is going down, they working overtime behind the scenes to get them off. Even these inbreds here too. So I have some videos to show the royal family, and I got an article to read, all right? And I've been paying real close attention to stuff. I've been reading things and watching stuff that people don't normally watch. But then I got to give it the short, compact version, but it's always end up being the long version to the royal family. So, I got some things here to read. I'm not going to read this very lengthy article because it's going to be the same repetitious things that's going to be said on the video. So I'm going to read the things that you're not going to hear on the video. So let's get this all together. Get this all set up. So today is Thursday. Testimony: shooter used racial slurs as Mr. Arbery lay dying. We ain't surprised. We ain't surprised at all. But who told that? This motherfucker here that's trying to act like he's so damn innocent. Oh, some shit gonna be revealed on you today, Ahmaud Fudd. Because some shit then came out about you and your fuckery. So, he, spilling the beans, but there's some things that has been revealed. A state investigator testified Thursday that a white man was heard saying a racial slur as he stood over Mr. Arbery's body moments after fatally shooting the black man with a pump-action shotgun. The inflammatory revelation came amid a week of angry nationwide protests over law enforcement's bias against black victims that erupt after the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis. In a hearing to determine whether there was enough evidence to proceed with a murder trial, the lead Georgia Bureau of Investigation agent in the case testified that Travis and Greg McMichael and a third man in another pickup, William Ruddy Bryant, used their trucks to chase down, box in Mr. Arbery, who repeatedly reversed directions and ran into a ditch while trying to escape. Travis McMichael then got out of his truck and confronted Mr. Arbery, later telling police he shot him in self-defense after Mr. Arbery refused his order. His order? Wow. To get on the ground, GBI agent. Now I want you to remember this agent, Richard Dial, D-I-A-L. We're going to hear from Mr. Dial today. Mr. Dial said, a close examination of the video of the shooting showed the first shot was to Mr. Arbery's chest, The second was to his hand, and the third hit his chest again before he collapsed in the road in the subdivision in the port town of Brunswick. Mr. Bryant said that after the shooting took place, police arrived and Mr. Arbery was on the ground, and that he heard Travis McMichael make the statement, "fucking nigger," Dial said. Bryant gave investigators the information roughly a week after the McMichaels' arrest, but there is no indication he told Glenn County investigators before that, Dial said. Lee Merritt, an attorney for Mr. Arbery's family, told reporters outside the courthouse that the prosecutor had warned the family before the hearing of the coming testimony about the racial slur. It was still very difficult to hear the contents of the prolonged chase, that after he murdered Mr. Arbery and stood over his body, he used a racial epithet, Merritt said. The lawyer said Thursday the testimony revealed that racism was at the heart, yes indeed, we already know, of Mr. Arbery's slaying. Mr. Arbery's mother, Wanda Cooper Jones, called the release of the new details in court very, very heartbreaking. He was afraid, Miss Cooper Jones said of her slain son. Life has placed him in a position where I couldn't protect him. He wasn't able to protect himself. At the conclusion of the probable cause hearing Thursday, Magistrate Court Judge Wallace Harrell found that there was enough evidence of the case against all three defendants to proceed. Mr. Arbery was chased, hunted down, and ultimately executed at the hands of these men. Prosecutor Jesse Evans told the judge he was on a run on a public road in a public subdivision. He was defenseless and unarmed. Now check this out. Now this is Travis, attorney, speaking. The Travis attorney's name is Jason Sheffield, an attorney for Travis McMichael. Dial said, now Dial is the GBI investigator. Okay, let's keep in mind. Dial said Travis told police he said his shotgun at Arbery from roughly 90 feet away and told him to stop and get on the ground, lying bitch. That's when Mr. Arbery ran around the passenger side of Travis' truck, and the two men met in front of it. Dial said Travis told police Mr. Arbery squared up like he was going to attack. There's a statement that he might have had hand on his shirt, Dial said. Travis McMichaels said his adrenaline was pumping and it all happened very quickly. He said Travis then fired the first shot in Arbery's chest. Sheffield argued, that's Travis' attorney, argued that the pursuit begun with a legitimate concern about past crimes in the neighborhood that escalated right before the shooting. Travis McMichael used self-defense when he was attacked by Mr. Arbery, Sheffield said. I don't think it was self-defense by Mr. Michael, Dial said. I believe it was self-defense by Mr. Arbery. The testimony presented Thursday raised questions about the idea that the McMichaels and Bryant were legitimately carrying out a citizen's arrest of the suspect burglar. It also could factor into whether hate crime charges are warranted. Dial testified that Greg McMichael told police that he didn't know if Mr. Arbery had stolen anything or not, but he had a gut feeling that Arbery had committed prior break-ins in the neighborhood. Can't go with your gut. The investigator testified that the police body cam footage showed a Confederate flag sticker on a toolbox in Travis' truck, and that the investigators discovered at least 2 more racial slurs in messages on his phone. So we're going to leave it right there, my royal family. We're going to get into these videos. So, let's listen to this first one.
Death of Ahmaud Arbery. A Glenn County judge has just ruled that there's enough evidence to move forward a trial with murder charges against all 3 suspects.
During a court hearing today, a GBI agent shared more details about the steps he says the suspects took to corner Arbery with their pickup trucks. Fox 5's Portia Bruner has the details.
So you've got one vehicle coming one way down Holmes Road and another vehicle coming another way, and Mr. Arbery is in between.
GBI agent Richard Dial described the moment 25-year-old Ahmaud Arbery was cornered by 2 pickup trucks in broad daylight on February 23rd in a Brunswick neighborhood. One truck driven by Travis McMichael, with his father Greg in the passenger seat. The other driven by Roddy Bryant, the man investigators say recorded Arbery's fatal encounter with the McMichaels on his cell phone.
Mr. Bryan picks up the phone that's been videotaping the whole time and holds it up so you have a view. You see Mr. Arbery running down Holmes Road.
In May, the GBI charged all 3 men with murder, aggravated assaults, and false imprisonment. Thursday, we heard the evidence that led to those charges, a detailed breakdown of how the 3 men essentially hunted Arbery, who was jogging through the neighborhood and reportedly seen wandering through a home under construction. Much of the evidence, investigators say, comes from Bryan's video and what suspects reportedly told Glenn County police the day of the shooting.
The driver's side door is open. Travis McMichael is there. It is apparent to me he is holding a firearm. Firearm is raised. Mr. Arbery is running. He then apparently sees what Travis McMichael in front of him. Then he changes direction to go around the passenger side of the vehicle.
Agent Dial says Arbery ran from the men, then tried to fight Travis McMichael, who was armed with a pump-action shotgun. Dial says McMichael admits he shot Arbery 3 times. Many hope what Travis McMichael reportedly said after the shooting as he stood over Arbery's lifeless body will compel the feds to pursue hate crime charges.
Mr. Bryan said that after the shooting took place, before police arrival, while Mr. Arbery was on the ground, that he heard Travis McMichael make the statement.
Portia Bruner, Fox 5 News.
All right, my royal family. So, again, this motherfucker is trying to play like he innocent. Already at the crime, he was already, I've already read that, he was already trying to wiggle his way out of this situation. But we're going to hear something that I did not purposely read to the royal family that this motherfucker did. So let's get deeper into it. Let me see here. Got 2 videos to play. Here's the first one. Here is the first one. Let me make sure.
Arbery investigation. Strong words from the lead investigator in the case today, who said the 25-year-old was pursued and hunted the day he was killed.
I don't believe it was self-defense by Mr. McMichael. I believe it was self-defense by Mr. Arbery.
The investigator also revealed a witness heard the shooter, Travis McMichael, use a racial slur after shooting Arbery. Travis, his dad Greg, and William Roddy Bryant, who recorded video of the shooting, are all charged with felony murder. A judge has ruled that the cases against all 3 can advance to the trial court. News4JAX reporter Joe McLean has been talking to demonstrators outside the courthouse. So we begin with News4JAX I-Team investigator Kelly Wiley, who was inside the courtroom. Kelly.
Well, the whole point of this hearing today was to see if there was enough evidence to move forward with the case. Today, in fact, we learned a lot of new information that we didn't know about this investigation. Investigators said that Ahmaud Arbery, they found evidence consistent with the fact that he was hit by a truck, that he was blocked from escaping from the neighborhood, and that eventually they found he stopped and chose to fight for his life in his last moments. New revelations are coming out of the preliminary trial for Ahmaud Arbery. The lead investigator in the GBI's investigation say they found evidence father and son Travis and Gregory McMichael and their neighbor William Roddy Bryan prevented 25-year-old Arbery from fleeing the neighborhood the day of the deadly shooting, chasing him for more than 4 minutes and at one point pinning Arbery between their two trucks.
Pursuit, hunt, something along those lines.
Those are the words you would use.
That's the words I would use, yes, sir. I believe Mr. Arbery's decision was to just try to get away, and when he felt like he could not escape, he chose to fight.
The investigator testified GBI found evidence Arbery might have been hit by Roddy Bryan's truck during the pursuit, saying they found a palm print on the rear door of Bryan's truck, cotton fibers near the truck bed, and a dent below the fibers. Perhaps the biggest...
Now, you heard that, my royal family? Now, the very one that's running his mouth like a canary hit our royal son with his damn truck. They done found a palm print and fibers that match the outfit that Mr. Arbery had. So he's admissible. He got his hands all up in it. But see, he's still trying to play that role like he a witness. They was stalking our royal son and he ran out of gas. And the warrior kicked up in him. And he did everything he could to kick Travis' ass. Now, I want y'all to pay attention to something real close to my royal family. Like I said, I'm going to cover this like I always do. We ain't hearing too much about Pops. Now, Pops, all three of them got their own lawyers. I said early on, don't be surprised if Pops give up his son. Don't be surprised, because he's trying to get his way up out of this and get as light time as possible. Another thing, we ain't hearing nothing about no bond hearing. I've been searching about a bond hearing and they playing some games. So they put on these dog and pony shows like they really care and speak with empathy and all these things that they put in articles and everything. But True Royal gonna bring truth. So let's finish this video, then we got another video to watch.
This bombshell of the day was the racial slur the alleged shooter, Travis McMichael, was overheard saying as Arbery lay bleeding out on the road. Investigator Dow testified his investigators found evidence Travis McMichael had a history of using the word.
Makes the comment that would only be better if they'd have blown that effing N-words or had blown that N-words head off. He made the statement that he loved his job because he was out on a boat and there weren't any N-words anywhere.
According to investigators, Travis's father, Greg McMichael, told Glenn County investigators he followed Arbery on a hunch.
He makes admissions to seeing Mr. Arbery running down the roadway. His statement to the effect is he didn't know Mr. Arbery had stolen anything or not, but he had a gut feeling that Mr. Arbery may have been responsible for thefts that were in the neighborhood.
And the defense for Travis McMichael, ultimately at the end, when they had their last statements, they made the argument that this incident was the result of neighbors being concerned about theft, something that we've reported on before. And he said in the end that Arbery attacked Travis and that it was an act of self-defense. You heard the investigator say he felt the opposite, that Arbery was actually acting in self-defense. Another interesting piece of information that got kind of lost in all the new revelations that came out of today was about the gun that Greg McMichael had at the time. They said this was his department-issued firearm, despite the fact that he'd been retired from law enforcement, a retired district attorney investigator for several months, and he had not been with the Glenn County Police Department for several years. For now, reporting in Brunswick, Kelly Wiley, Channel 4, the local station.
Now, isn't that ironic? Now, Pop's got a gun, but he never was a cop because he couldn't even pass the damn test. So he should never ever had a gun because he truly was not a cop at all. So let's blow this up, and we're gonna get 6 minutes. It might lap over just a little bit, but you know how True Royal do over here. Got to get all the juicy parts of this. Don't want to miss a second of it. That's why I'm trying to.
Bombshell revelation in the hearing for the men charged with murdering Ahmaud Arbery. Investigators say Travis McMichael used a racial slur while Arbery lay dying on the ground. State prosecutors laid out their case for charging all three men with felony murder today. In a preliminary hearing of the case, William Roddy Bryan waived his court appearance. Investigators said that the men blocked 25-year-old jogger Ahmaud Arbery from leaving the neighborhood before he was shot and killed. News4JAX reporter Kelly Wiley is joining us live after listening to the hours-long hearing. And Kelly, this bombshell, it was tough to hear.
You know, it's very tough to hear. His family was inside the courtroom as this was said. The investigator that was saying this information was uncomfortable. He even said that too. But essentially, he said that after the shooting, but before police showed up, one of the witnesses, Roddy Bryan, said he heard Travis McMichael say the N-word as Ahmaud Arbery was laying on the ground. Today, startling new developments out of the preliminary hearing in the death of Ahmaud Arbery. The lead investigator in the case revealing one of the suspects overheard the man who shot Arbery call him the N-word after the shooting.
I want to ask you about a particular quote that Travis McMichael stated on the crime scene that was overheard by one of the defendants and shared with investigators prior to police arriving.
Today we heard that Travis McMichael, over the body of Ahmaud Arbery, said the N-word. How does that leave you feeling?
It broke my heart for this mom.
The lead investigator for GBI's investigation, Richard Dial, also revealed this isn't the first time Travis McMichael has used the word, saying investigators found multiple instances of Travis McMichael using the word on social media and in messages.
But one particular one that comes to mind is he made a statement that he loved his job because he was out on a boat and there weren't any N-words anywhere.
The state's questioning of the lead investigator also led to information on why Greg McMichael said he decided to pursue Arbery through the neighborhood.
His statement to the effect is he didn't know Mr. Arbery had stolen anything or not, but he had a gut feeling that Mr. Arbery may have been responsible for thefts that were in the neighborhood.
And coming up at 6 o'clock, we are going to tell you more about Roddy Bryan's role in this, according to the investigator. We knew that multiple times he had used his vehicle, according to these warrants, to block off Arbery, but that was really laid out today by the GBI investigator. We're going to lay that out for you at 6 o'clock.
And Kelly, we know attorneys warned Ahmaud Arbery's family that they would hear that racial slur today and that it could be a pretty difficult day in court, right?
This was, I mean, we weren't in the same room as them. They had us they had the family in that main courtroom, and then they had all the press in the jury room listening to it over video. It's very different now because of COVID-19 and people trying to take those social distancing precautions. But this was hard, I think, for everybody in the room to hear. Race was brought up not just once, but several times. They talked about the history of Travis McMichael using that word on his social media, in his messages to other people that day of the shooting. But they also talked about the other suspect, Roddy Bryan, his use of racial slurs and saying things that were racially charged in his own messages. So that was kind of the undertone for a large part of this hearing. And I think when you're talking about someone's child and then add on that extra layer, I can't imagine how difficult this must have been for her. But yes, she did leave the courtroom, from what we understand from her attorneys, and came back later on.
Thank you. Kelly Weiler reporting live for us today from Brunswick.
Demonstrators who gathered outside the Brunswick courthouse earlier plan to return within the hour to call for justice. News4JAX reporter Joe McLean was there on the steps of the courthouse as the sizable demonstration was unfolding. He's joining us live now. Joe.
Yeah, that demonstration, about 100 people at its peak. It convened shortly before the hearing began at 9:30, and they stood out there for hours, holding signs, chanting, and calling for a strict punishment for the McMichaels and for Bryan.
I'm here because I'm black. And because things weren't written for me.
Dozens of demonstrators outside the court hearing for Greg McMichael, Travis McMichael, and Roddy Bryan. No bond. The crowd calling for the 3 men charged in the death of Ahmaud Arbery to be kept in jail throughout the court proceedings.
I just feel like if they grant them bond, then they're ignoring, the pain for the family and just in general, just what's right.
For many taking part in the demonstration, Arbery, who was just 25 years old when he died, represented members of their own families.
It means a lot to me because I have a young son too.
I have a 31-year-old son, and this has gone on so long.
And I have 2 sons and a daughter, and all my people that I see constantly.
We're tired of losing our family, our brothers, our sons, our fathers. We're tired of losing them, and nothing's being done.
All of the demonstrators say they want a conviction for all 3 of the men accused.
Ahmaud's going to get justice. We're going to make sure, and everybody who looks like him.
We're here. We're not going anywhere, and as long as this lasts, we're going to be here.
Now, we've been hearing that another demonstration is going to be reconvening here at 5:45 within the hour. So we're going to be checking back in on News4Jax at 6. Reporting live in Brunswick, I'm Joe McLean, Channel 4, the local station.
All right, my royal family. One thing that I really like is that I like the fact that the protesters are like me. I'm paying real close attention to this case. And they, behind the scenes, again, they entertaining that bond hearing. And the reason why they ain't had the bond hearing yet, because they need enough money to be put up forth so the judge know how to set the bond hearing, because it's going to be 10% of. That's the only reason why, my royal family. Trust and believe they're going to bond these motherfuckers out. Now, if they don't, that still don't mean nothing, because they're paying for their defense fund. So, what we have learned today is Mr. Innocent trapped him, hit him with that truck, and they got, some evidence of that. And we also learned that he didn't want to be a part of, the preliminary hearings and stuff, because him and his goofy ass lawyer got some little something up under his sleeve, thinking I'll separate him from this. No, he was all up in it. All up in it. But he think, well, he said the N-word and he did this and blah, blah, blah. Well, what about your part that you played in it? Oh, no. You was all up in it. And you must atone to your atrocious behavior. Okay. Again, to refresh the royal family's memory, they ain't said shit about Senior McMichaels too much. They ain't said shit about him. So let's pay attention to, see, we gotta, like I said, we're gonna look at these cases where we're gonna hear, we all playing our part. I'm just one of the many voices. You're one of the many voices. And let's bring out what's not being said, what's not being seen, what's not being done, and what's being done. So they'll lay it all out, and they'll hear what they're going to hear, and then they'll go back and hear it and tweak it when they actually have trial. Okay, I'm not surprised that the judge said, okay, yeah, we're going to go to trial on this. But keep in mind, my royal family, this is their system, and their system is made to get them out of their fuckery. Now, all this demonstrating and all this hard talking and all this kind of stuff like that and all that taking that knee and all that bullshit, they are going to continue to uphold white supremacy. So we ain't going to lose sight of shit. Oh, yeah, not at all. We're not delusional over here on the True Royal Family or True Royal at all. We ain't playing them little games and having some hope and all that kind of stuff like that. No, that ain't gonna work. hardcore, so we don't set ourselves up for failure. The only way this shit gonna ever change is the total elimination of the Caucasoid race, and also the total elimination of the enemy and the enemy supporter. So check this out, my royal family. Render your voice with your beautiful divine words. And as always, my royal family, thank you for your love. I thank you for your support. And with that said, Ashe.